All right, section 1.5, adding integers. We're in our handouts on page 29. Okay, here's the rule that I want you to remember. It's right here. Same sign, add and keep. Different signs, subtract and take. So I look at the signs of the numbers. Now, we've already looked at absolute value and opposite value. We've been manipulating their signs and their values, so we know that every number has a sign, and the sign is in front of the number. So since we know that every number has a sign, I'm going to ask myself, whenever I'm adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers, do they have the same sign? If they do, I add them and keep the common sign, or do they have different signs? And if they have different signs, I subtract them and take the sign of my greater absolute value. All right, now up in the first part of the example, I have what's called the additive inverse. That's a fancy word for the opposite. We already learned opposites, right? The opposite of a number. I call the opposite of a number the additive inverse. It's just a fancy word for opposite. All right, so that's my rules for adding integers. All right, so let's look at example 1. In example 1, I'm adding integers with the same sign. What does that mean? That means that, again, every number has a sign. The sign's in front of the number. So both of these numbers, integers, are negative. So since they're both negative, I'm going to add them together and keep their sign, which is a negative. So it's going to be negative 82. Now, you'll notice that I have a double sign here. We're going to talk about double signs in a minute. But anytime I have a double sign, I need to separate the double sign by using parentheses. So that's why you see parentheses around negative 28. I separate double signs with parentheses. Now, we don't like double signs. We want to get rid of them, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. But for now, we're going to leave it just like that. All right, now negative 7 plus negative 6. Again, the first thing you do when you look at these questions or these expressions is, are they same sign or different? Are they same sign or different? Same. They're both negative. So add and keep negative 13. All right, I want you to do the last two. All right, so what's the answer to C?
21.
21. That one's easy. They're both positive. What about the answer to D? Negative 15. Same sign, add and keep. All right, now in example 2, I'm adding integers with different signs. So now I have 1 that's positive. All right, so 8 is positive, but 15 is negative. So since they are different signs, one's positive and one's negative, I'm going to subtract them. 15 minus 8 is 7, and take the sign of my greater absolute value. Remember, absolute value is the number without the sign. So which number is bigger? Which number is bigger? 15. Without the sign. My absolute value. 15 is bigger, and is 15 positive or negative? Negative. So my answer is negative 7. I take the sign of my greater absolute value. All right? Now I have negative 23 plus 14. Again, they are different signs, so I subtract them. And is my answer positive or negative? Negative. It is negative because 23 is my greater absolute value, and it's negative. Negative 9. Now I want you to do the last two on your own. Okay, so C, what's negative 13 plus 6?
Negative 7.
Negative 7, very good. And for D, what's negative 20 plus 5? Negative 15, very good.
Is it okay if I open?
Now, in example 3, I'm taking this one step further. This almost becomes a two-step problem because now I'm adding more than 2. So I need to group my common signs together. Commutative property says I can change the order. So I can say 71 plus 15 plus negative 14. So I can add my positive numbers together first to get 86 plus negative 14 And then is my answer positive or negative 72? Positive 72, because why? Why is my answer positive 72? Because 86 is larger and 86 is positive. That's why. Now let's look at B. Again, we're going to rearrange the numbers. I'm going to put my positive number out front, plus negative 16, plus negative 10, plus negative 8. I can rearrange them as long as I keep my sign. Now, remember my rules. Same sign, add and keep. Are all these negative? These three numbers, are they all negative? So they're all, yes they are. They're all negative. So I can add them all together and keep my negative. Negative 16 plus negative 10 plus negative 8 is negative 34. Okay, so now I have 20 plus negative 34. Different signs, subtract and take. My answer is, how'd you know it was negative 14? Because 34 is larger and it's negative. Negative 14. And we need to subtract because it's different signs. All right, now I want you to try C on your own. Okay, so here we go, guys. Group your positives together, 20 plus 8 plus negative 12 plus negative 14. Group your positives and group your negatives. You get 28 plus negative 26. Different signs, subtract and take 2. Okay? All right, next example. Now, in this example, we're looking at the double signs. We are going to work to get rid of double signs. Double signs clutter our expressions and they're not necessary because if we remember what I said earlier in this lesson, every number has a sign and the sign is in front of the number. So plus and negative is the same thing as just subtracting the number. So I can write negative 25 minus 15 and I will still get the same answer. You say, well, that's a subtraction sign. That's not a negative. It's the same thing. Okay? So if you can recognize that every number has a sign, the sign's in front of the number, you can get rid of your double sign. You're going to see this type of format of expression on your quiz and test. So you need to make sure that you understand that every number has a sign, the sign's in front of the number. So how could I rewrite negative 14 plus negative 10? How could I write it? Just tell me.
Negative 14 minus 10.
Perfect. Negative 14 minus 10 is negative 24. Go ahead and rewrite the last two expressions taking away the double sign. So get rid of these double signs. Write the next C and D, eliminating the double sign and evaluating. All right, so did you write negative 7 minus 5?
Yes.
Is negative 12?
Yes.
All right, what about, did you write 15 minus 12 minus 6 plus 5? All right, now you can rearrange them to group your positives together, 15 plus 5, and group your negatives together, negative 12 and negative 6. You get 20 minus 18, which is 2, right? Yep. All right, so getting rid of double signs, rid of double signs. Now we have one more example and we're done. We'll skip the checkpoint for now. We'll come back to it. In example 4, we are evaluating variable expressions. So it's the same thing that we've been doing, except we're plugging in the value for the variable before we solve. So negative 22 plus negative 9. Same sign or different, guys? Same. So I add and keep. 22 plus 9 is 31. And keep my negative. Add and keep. All right, now I'm going to make my substitutions on B, and I have negative 22 plus 17 plus negative 12. Now, could I rewrite this without my double sign? Yes, I sure could. I could just say minus 12. All right, now I want to group my negatives together. Negative 22 minus 12 plus 17. I want to add and keep my common sign, negative 22 plus negative 12, or minus 12, to get negative 34 plus 17, and my answer is negative 17. All right, now I want you to try C on your own. All right, so let's make our substitutions. We have negative 12 minus 18 plus negative 22, all negative. So I can add them all together and just keep my common sign, negative 34 plus 18, negative 52. Did you get negative 52? Negative 52 is the answer. All right, and if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 1.5.